So, lines and angles, this unit, I know I say that all of them are hard, but it's only because of the vocabulary, alright? There's like 4 essential words that we have to know for this unit that we use for the rest of the year. Alright, so make sure you're writing down exactly what I'm writing. Alright, the first one is parallel lines. You guys have heard this before?
Yes, ma'am.
Diana, what's special about parallel lines? Do they touch or they don't touch?
They touch.
They do?
No, they don't.
They
Wait,
don't. Alright, so we
I
have
get confused with the
perpendicular.
perfect. Yeah, that one.
So we have coplanar lines that do not intersect. My board is off again.
It's not me this time.
Do teachers plan do teachers plan what?
Alright, let's finish this up. Sorry. Alright, so parallel lines are coplanar lines that do not intersect. We use arrows to show that lines are parallel.
What arrows?
It's just what the world of geometry told us to do. So if you guys notice here in your example, normally your arrows look like this, and that's just kind of the way that we know it's parallel.
Why do you mean I know it's like triangles?
They are triangles sometimes. Arrows are triangles. Your symbol for parallel lines is LL. That's what it looks like. I made the 2 L's and the word parallel.
Are these all the books like things gonna be the vocab words?
No, we haven't got to the important words yet.
It's gonna be like perpendicular.
Yep. Our next one is perpendicular lines.
Yeah.
Alright. Perpendicular lines are also coplanar lines. That intersect at a 90-degree angle. That's important to know about perpendicular. What's that symbol that we can recognize to know whether an angle is a right angle or not?
The little box.
Yeah, it's like a little box with a little square inside the angle. So that's what we use to show that the lines are perpendicular. That means it's a right angle.
So we're gonna about lines.
Your symbolic notation looks like an upside down T.
What about congruent? Or like,
No, congruent is the equal sign with the squiggly line on top. Alright, so here's an example. Let's say I have 2 lines, and I have a square right there. This tells me that these 2 lines are perpendicular because they are meeting at a right angle. And in order for something to be perpendicular, it has to have 2 lines. All good?
Can't wait to go home and just sleep.
I'm with you. This is a long week for some reason. Alright.
I love this thing.
Skew lines.
the what?
Skew.
Keys?
Yep.
Key.
So skew lines are non-coplanar. So that means they're not on the same line. Sorry, the same line. Non-coplanar lines that do not intersect. So what's special about skew lines are they're not parallel, they're also not touching. They kind of just like random lines, okay? For this figure here, you have to think in 3 dimensions, even though our diagrams will always be in 2 dimensions. What this means is, imagine, look at my tissue box. When they give us a figure, imagine that it's 3D. Okay, so here's the same kind of figure. Skew lines mean that, let's say I have PQ. So PQ would be skew to VR. Do you guys see how they're not in the same direction and they're also not touching? So they're not parallel, they're not intersecting, therefore they're skewed. They're just, they kind of don't make sense, right? There's no relation. And you can also have different options, like WS will work too. All right, let's take a look at another example. Chris, let's say that I have TP.
WB.
WV, good, that one works. My lines are very small, so just try to keep yours on there. All right, that works. Diana, what if I had UV? What else would be skewed to UV? Huh? You will know because if we do UT, they're touching, right? Someone help her. Looks like it'll be, huh? RQ, well, RQ, that's going in the same direction, right? Those are parallel.
Oh.
That's like if we had, if this was UV and this was QR, they're both going in the same direction, right? We need something opposite. What'd you say?
TP.
TP? Yes. That one works because it's a vertical line and it's not even touching UV, so that one works. So skew lines are not parallel, they're not perpendicular. You guys wrote that down? All right. A transversal. You okay, Chris?
Yeah.
A transversal is basically a line that intersects two or more lines. So Sam, let's take a look. Take a look at these three lines, T, L, and M. Which one intersects two lines?
Wait, no.
Just T, right? So this is my transversal. The transversal is just one line that splits the other lines and, well, not even in half, they just kind of go through it. So your example here would be line T.
Like T-Pain.
His birthday was the other day, I think.
T-Pain?
T-Pain, oh yeah.
It's not like that one dude that you can tell auto-tune.
Yeah.
He used to, he's actually a musical genius. He's like a producer and all that stuff behind the scenes that we never know.
What's your name?
Let me talk to you.
Oh my gosh. Alright, you guys were like 4 when that song came out too. Because I think I was in like college.
Born or four?
They probably weren't born. I was 4.
Are you 18 now?
I'm about to turn 18.
Yeah, you're born.
Young boy.
Alright, parallel planes. Parallel planes are planes that do not what? Planes that do not what? It's parallel. Are they touching or not touching? They're not touching, right? So they do not intersect. What's my symbol, Chris, for parallel?
Two little lines, two little lines.
2 little lines, good. Alright, so Brian, if you look at this figure, plane J is parallel to what? Plane K. The more we get into these units, we're going to just be using a lot of symbols instead of words, where your vocab really comes into play.
Are we gonna have another cheat sheet?
Yes, we're going to get to that. Alright, perpendicular planes. Guys, what is so funny? Why are you guys laughing at everything?
We saw that in the
I don't know why they just laugh at her.
Alright, let's focus. Perpendicular planes.
He just says it so funny.
Perpendicular planes are planes that intersect at a 90-degree angle.
Perpendicular planes.
Yep. So that means if we look at my example that I got my tissue box, if this is the front of it, I'm going to color this in. Okay, that's the front of my tissue box. Anything that is touching this front face is going to be perpendicular.
VR.
So let's do the one on the side. Krishna said VR. So that means that these two sides are perpendicular because they meet here, which is a right angle.
So we need that key.
They meet at QU, yes. Or QU forms a right angle.
What does it mean?
It says, no, planes cannot be skewed. Okay, that means that another face of the plane will always either be parallel or it will be perpendicular.
What's that a really, like, good idea?
What?
Go grill some burgers, that's what really was. Sorry, I'm hungry, man.
Why are you so hungry today?
I'm always hungry.
Chris. All right.
I forgot the last one.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna pass out highlighters.
Wait, we didn't have to write anything first. Wait, how come we didn't have to write anything first?
Oh, what's our symbol for perpendicular?
No, it's little lines.
It's the upside down T. Write that in. All right, I'm passing out these highlighters. Make sure you give them back to me. All right, so whatever I highlight, you have to highlight. This is the super important part that we're going to do because it is literally the basis of geometry. Everything we do, you have to understand these terms, okay? You actually already know two of them. It says there are 4 types of angles formed by transversals. This is in addition to linear pair, and keep it together,
Sorry, I'm just young.
linear pair and vertical angles. Okay? We know a linear pair are 2 angles that add up to 180, they're side by side. Vertical angles are congruent, so they're equal to each other. All right, with your highlighter, I want you to highlight the interior. So you guys see these 2 lines here? We're going to highlight the inside of both those lines. That's all you have to highlight for now. Don't make it too dark that you can't see the numbers. Make sure you get a blue. Oh, shoot. Okay, so when I wrote these notes, I kind of didn't format it like I wanted to. So just make sure that you're drawing arrows as I am so you know which terms go where. The first one is going to be corresponding angles. Okay, that's that box there. We're just going to refer back to that picture that I had you guys highlight. All right, so corresponding angles are angles on the same side of the transversal and in the same position. Okay, so I'm going to circle numbers up here. I don't want you guys to do that because we're going to use this figure to look at all of these. Okay, so you just look up here, don't circle numbers on your paper. So what this means is that corresponding angles are the same angle on the same side of the transversal. My transversal is this like line here. Okay, that's the transversal. It's cutting the other 2 lines. If I look at number 1, the angle that is in the same side, same position will be angle 5. So we're going to write angle 1 and angle 5. Those 2 angles are corresponding. Chris, what is corresponding to angle 2? Good. So we're going to write angles 2 and angle 6. Let's look at angle 4. What's corresponding with angle 4? 8. Good. Angle 4, angle 8. Sam, what is corresponding with angle 3?
Angle 7.
7. Angle 3 and angle 7. I'm going to erase my circles here. Just remember that that transversal is that line in the middle. All right, the next one is alternate interior. Write that right beside the next box. Alternate interior angles. All right, what does the word alternate mean?
Takes turns.
Okay, yeah, like you take turns. For geometry, we think of alternate like opposite, okay? Interior, is that inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside. So my definition is that for interior angles would be
Inside.
interior angles, non-adjacent, so that means they're not side by side, because adjacent means side by side, and on opposite sides of the transversal. This is why I had you guys grab a highlighter. So, we all see the interior of this figure, right? If I need alternate interior angles, what is the alternate interior of angle 4? Opposite and still inside.
3.
No, that's side by side.
Oh. 6.
6, okay? You see, Chris, how is both of those numbers are in the inside, right? They're not side by side, they're alternate, so opposite, and they're in the interior. So angles 4 and 6. Chris, do the next one. What's alternate interior to angle 3?
3 and 5.
3 and 5, good. Okay, guys, this is just 2 examples, or 2 definitions. We still have 2 more. So you guys see how this could get confusing?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that's why we want to make sure that we're understanding what they're really asking us to find, and then I'll give you your cheat sheet. Okay, so on your paper, you don't have this figure again. You guys just have 1, which is okay. I just copied it twice on my paper. Just an example. The next one is, actually, let me move this so we can write. Are you okay? All right, the next one is alternate exterior. Alternate exterior angles. That's my next definition. That means we had exterior angles, non-adjacent, so they're not side by side, and on opposite sides of the transversal. All right, so if I need alternate exterior, I need opposite, and then do I need inside or outside?
Outside.
Outside. So I'm not even gonna look at my numbers in the highlighted area. I need the outside numbers. What is alternate exterior to angle 1? What's alternate to that? Alternate exterior.
Outside.
Okay, but what's that number? To angle 1. Good, angle 7. You guys see that? Angle 1 and angle 7 are alternate exterior. Diana, what about angle 2? What's alternate exterior number 2?
No, hold on.
8 because we're looking at the exterior, right? We already colored in my interior, so I need exterior. So my choices are either 1, 2, 8, or 7. So it's 8. So angle 2
I think so.
and angle 8.
Because my brain is twisted.
I didn't say that. So
Good fun to sleep, man.
stay awake, stand up if you need to. We're almost there.
Let me beat you with this ruler.
Chris, stay focused. All right, my last one. Consecutive. Who knows what consecutive means? Like if I'm counting and I have consecutive numbers, are they beside each other or not beside each other?
Not the same.
Beside each other. If I say consecutive numbers, that's like 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So consecutive interior angles means they're going to be right beside each other. And they're going to be on the inside. Right for that. So we have interior angles. And on the same side of the transversal. Okay, look at your example. If it's interior, that means I only have a choice of 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys see that? Because that's on the inside. That's what I already had up there. So consecutive interior angles means consecutive to 4 is going to be 5. They're on the same side of the transversal. They're both on the inside. So angle 4 and angle 5 are consecutive interior angles. What's consecutive interior to angle 3? Angle 6. We also can call consecutive interior angles same side interior, if you guys don't want to use the word consecutive. Either way, I know what it is. Then it says in elementary and middle school, you were told these angles were congruent or added up to 180. That is only true if the lines are parallel. You want to write out the word parallel? All right, so we are going to, you can do this before lunch. All right, let's practice this. Which numbers should we highlight? Turn the page to your practice.
2, 6, 3, 7.
All right, here's my interior right here. We all agree. I will allow you guys to abbreviate as long as I can tell what you're trying to say for the angle relationship. So let's see, angles 2 and 3. We have, good, they are consecutive interior, right?
We're gonna write that.
Because you can, I like to abbreviate angles too, which is the angle symbol. So consecutive interior angles. What about 1 and 8? They're definitely going to be exterior, right? So which one would that be? No? We're good. 1 and 8. Angles 1 and angle 8, what are those? They're on alternate sides, they're exterior. So they are alternate exterior angles.
I don't get that.
Well, because we just have to study these angle relationships. We're going to do our cheat sheet when you guys get back from lunch. All right, now we have angles 5 and angles 7. 5 and 7 are in the same position on the same side. Which one means same side, same position? Corresponding, good. Corresponding angles. All right. This one's tricky. This is a throwback. You should know this. Angles 1 and 2.
That complainer. Something
They're
like
side by side. Is it linear pair or is it vertical angles?
that. Linear.
A linear pair. Good. That counts as an angle relationship. All right, what about angles 2 and angle 7? They're both on the interior.
The alternate interior angles.
Good. Alternate interior angles. I like how you guys are flipping back and forth. This is where the cheat sheet will really come in handy because it'll just be easier for you guys to access your angles. All right, angles 1 and 3. Good, those are corresponding. Same side, same position. Ooh, 7 and 4, also a throwback. Good, vertical angles. Do you have the answer key over there, Brian, or you're just killing it on your own?
He guessed.
Just using his notes.
He guessed.
All right, 6 and 7. What are 6 and 7?
Oh, something here is good.
Good, consecutive interior. Once you guys finish these, you can go to lunch. When you guys get back, we'll go over the cheat sheet and then we'll go over homework.
We had homework?
No, I'm gonna go over the future homework.
Look at that.
All right, so take your highlighters
Highlight.
and you're gonna highlight the interior here. You can do the interior of all of them while you're at it.
Wait, are we done with our
For now, just leave your packet out still. I just want you to highlight the interior.
What color?
Do you have a packet? Huh? No, we did a whole new lesson today. Alright, so you guys are highlighting the interior. Alright, so the first one says consecutive interior. So consecutive means, did you just lay that right there instead of putting it back all the way?
I think I highlighted the blue.
Oh no, I don't know what happened to mine. I don't know why I did that.
I'm sorry if I highlighted the wrong.
No, yours is right. Mine just did something weird there. Alright, there we
Oh my
go.
God, what-
Alright, so consecutive interior means that they're side by side and they're on the interior. So that means that 3 is consecutive interior to what?
5, 6.
5.
Oh,
Good. So we can write down here angle 3 and angle 5, okay? This is the part you guys need to realize. Consecutive interior means that these two angles equal 180 degrees. So therefore, angles 3 and 5 equal 180 degrees.
Wait, everything in any side equals 180.
If it's the same side consecutive. So that means if you wanted to put examples 4 and 6, that's fine. Okay, I'm just giving you like one example. All right, we didn't really talk about consecutive exterior, and I'm not sure if we have it on our test or not, but consecutive exterior, well, it's exterior, right?
Mhm.
So that would be 1 and 7. Example 1, or sorry, angle 1 and angle 7. Those also add up to 180 degrees. So if 1 is 100, angle 7 would be 80. Make sure you guys are circling the same angles that I am. Alright, alternate interior. So do I need inside the yellow or outside the yellow?
Outside here.
For interior?
Inside.
Inside. Okay, so alternate interior means 3 and what?
6.
6. So angle 3 is equal to angle 6. Alternate interior means that these angles are congruent. That means if angle 3 is 50 degrees, angle 6 is 50 degrees. All right, and alternate exterior, what's exterior to angle 1? Angle 8. That's alternate exterior. So we would have angle 1 is equal to angle 8. Those are also congruent. They're the same exact angle, just alternate sides, and they're exterior. Are you writing down the examples? You didn't circle anything with others. All right, we have corresponding, which means it doesn't matter if it's interior, outerior, or exterior, sorry. Angle 1 is corresponding with which angle?
7.
Nope.
2.
5. You see how angle 1 is on top of or line N?
Yeah.
Angle 5 is in the same position on top of line N. So that means that angle 1 is equal to angle 5. Or you could do 2 and 6, 3 and 7, or 4 and 8. Corresponding angles are also congruent. They're going to be the same number. Then it says, don't forget linear pairs and vertical angles. Those are the ones we've done before. Okay? So linear pair, they have to be side by side. What's side by side to angle 1?
2.
You could do 2, or you could do 3. It doesn't matter. So that means that angle 1 and angle 2 would add up and give me 180 degrees. Would be supplementary. Brian, for vertical angles, what's vertical to angle 5? 8. So you can say angle 5 with equal angle 8.
Wait, you didn't say 4 as well?
So that would be vertical angles. And this would be a linear pair. What did you say?
Can you not say 4?
4 and for vertical angles?
Yeah.
4 and 1.
Oh,
Vertical angles are right across from each other.
okay.
So you can do 1 and 4, 6 and 7, 2 and 3. Alright, so we all understand that you should be using this cheat sheet to do your homework. If you do your homework at least 80%, use it on your test. Okay? Alright, let's go back to our homework for a second. I'm going to have you circle what problems you're going to do.
Wait,
Yeah, we just go over it. Okay. Alright, I'm going to change your homework up a little bit. Okay? So make sure you're paying attention. Turn to the back of day 1 notes.
The back of
The back of day 1 notes. Yep. We already did the top part.
like the blade.
This part right here. Go to your notes.
Oh, our nose.
Yeah, not the homework
I
set.
know.
Go to the notes. I know we're talking about homework. I'm going to change it, but for now, go to your notes.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
Open up this packet. Go to day 1 notes. All right. Circle these numbers.
This is homework 2?
No, we're just finishing it.
This is homework. Wait, yo, you're dumb.
What?
Skip 12, 13,
Just 5?
Yeah, you circle those 5 numbers.
This is homework?
Pay attention. Yes. All right, so you're doing these for homework, okay? Well, you have to be careful because you may have, it's a little bit challenging. I want you just to try it. That's my interior, right? But if you turn your paper to the side, your interior could be this way. You guys see that? You could have 2 different interiors, but highlight that one first. And I want you to try those problems. Now, go to your homework page, homework day 1. I want you to mark out 8 through 11. You're not doing that part.
Oh, no.
So instead of doing that, you're doing the rest of the notes.
We're not getting this.
You're not doing that part. You're doing the first part of your homework, the last part. Instead of the middle, you're doing these 5 problems here. Okay?
So we.
All right, you guys have 13 minutes. You should be starting your homework. Because based on history, we don't use our time wisely. This is a perfect time to start your homework.
What do we cross out on
The middle part, 8 through 11. Yep.
Yeah, it's just confusing.
And then those 5 problems.
It's just confusing.
Why is, you're not supposed to not